correct for people to have children before marriage?
It's entirely up to them.
What's your view? Is it correct for children, for people across Scotland to have children outside of marriage?
It's not. It's something that I would seek to avoid for me personally, but it doesn't fuss me, doesn't put me up nor down the choices that other people make.
Is it right or is it right or is it wrong in your view?
In terms of my faith would say that children. Well, it says sex is for marriage. And that's the approach that I would practice. But
so is it, in your view, wrong then for people to have children outside of marriage? That's your view, isn't it?
I mean, you're asking me, would I impose my views on other people? Ultimately, that's what you're asking.
No, I'm just asking what your view is.
So,
is that correct? You know,
in terms of me personally, that is the approach I would practice. But you're also asking me, do I think that some of my family who've done that are wrong? Do I think that some of my friends who've done that are wrong? I mean, I accept them. That's choices that they've made, and we either live in a tolerant society where I can celebrate the birth of children, irrespective of the family, or not. And I do celebrate those lives that have been brought into the world.
But on a point of principle, you believe
on a
that's
point
wrong?
Of principle, it's the same with a number of other points you're probably going to come on and ask me. You're asking me, what would I do? Not because I think it's superior or better, but because it's in line with the teachings of my faith, which actually is quite similar to most mainstream religions. You're asking me what I would do, but then asking me would I take that in to a legal or political context and impose it. I go to church on a Sunday. I'm not sitting here saying to you, you need to be going to church on a Sunday.
No, but people at this point, this really pivotal moment when it comes to the next First Minister of Scotland, are keen to hear your views on this. And I'm not saying whether it's right or wrong either way. I'm just asking you, you think it's wrong? Well,
I think for me, it would be wrong according to my faith. But for you, I have no idea what your faith is. So in a free society, you do what you want.
Let's look now at the case of gender reform. Scottish Parliament overall overwhelmingly voted just before Christmas to make it easier for people to change their legally recognised gender, a system of self-identity. Would you have voted for that? You're one of the heads of the government. Would you have voted for that? I have
previously said before maternity leave that I had significant concerns with self-identification, and I would continue to have had those concerns. It's often difficult to use hypotheticals because I would have obviously participated fully in the process. I'd have raised points of concern. And actually, I think we did see the bill getting more into the territory of additional safeguards in terms of, for example, young people needing to seek additional counsel. So I think there's ways of building in further safeguards. But ultimately, the aim is to ensure that women feel like safe spaces can be protected and the trans community are not stigmatised.
Will you block or will you go forward with a legal challenge to the UK government attempting to block what the Scottish Parliament has passed?
I mean, I think the first point is a point of principle, and then the second is a point of politics. On a point of principle, it is outrageous that the UK government should block any legislation. But right now we have a choice, we're at a crossroads. Do we either work as a devolved government to seek to amend the bill to make it compatible, or do we take it to court? And I think certainly most of the polling is showing that the people of Scotland want us to focus on the priorities of cost of living, NHS, so on, rather than take it to court. In terms of my personal view of the bill, I think we do need to look again at safeguards, particularly around young people. I think that is...
so is that you saying you wouldn't like to see 16, 17-year-olds included in this bill?
I think it's all about safeguards.
But just to be clear, and you talk about straight talking at the start, are you in favour of 16 and 17-year-olds being part of this legislation?
I would have been far more supportive of it being 18-year-olds.
So you don't support 16 and 17-year-olds, is that what you're saying?
I am saying that, but I think that we also need to make sure that the whole process of support and making the bill making the Gender Reform Act less onerous is also important.
The First Minister was on a sugary peg in recent weeks around trans prisoners, particularly the case of Isla Bryson, the double rapist originally known as Adam Graham, who transitioned to a trans woman during those very serious court proceedings. Is Isla Bryson, in your view, a man or a woman?
A rapist cannot be a woman, and therefore